The fire has gone out. Your breath hangs in the air. The walls of the hut leak cold like knives against your skin. Your family huddles together under a damp blanket, stomachs growling, lips cracked with thirst. Outside, the snow is silent, too silent, until the howl of wolves breaks it, echoing closer, closer. You pray the door holds. You pray hunger doesn't win. Because in a medieval winter, the cold was only the beginning. The snow comes early. The harvest was thin. By December, the grain stores are already empty. You chew on hardened crusts of bread, so stale they break teeth. The children beg for more, but there is nothing left to give. By January, families boil leather shoes for soup. They grind bark into flour. They eat rats, if they can catch them. And then comes the hunger that eats you alive. It gnaws at your belly until you can't sleep. It weakens your arms until you can't work. It steals your mind until you look at your neighbor not as a friend, but as food. In the medieval winter, famine was not a fear. It was routine. The wind slips through every crack in the walls. Your home is no fortress. It is mud, wood, and straw, barely holding against the storm. At night, you pile together with your family like animals. But the firewood is gone. The smoke hole in the roof lets out more heat than it keeps in. Frost creeps along the inside of the walls. Your breath ices in your beard. The baby beside you shivers all night, until she doesn't move at all. In the morning, she is stiff and pale. There is no priest to bury her. The ground is frozen hard as stone. You wrap her in rags and leave her by the door, because the earth itself refuses to take her. And the cold does not end. It waits. It takes another and another. In the medieval winter, the night itself was a killer. The walls are packed with mud and straw. In summer, it kept the flies out. In winter, it traps the cold inside. The roof drips from melting snow, soaking your bedding until you lie shivering in rags that never dry. If you're lucky, you have a fur blanket. If you're poor, you share one thin wool sheet with 6 others pressed together for warmth. Peasants keep animals indoors, pigs, goats, even chickens. Their body heat the only furnace. But the stink fills the hut. The air is wet and sour, hard to breathe. The animals cough. You cough back, and sickness spreads faster than the frost outside. Fuel is scarce. A noble burns logs in a stone fireplace. You burn whatever you can find: dried dung, twigs, scraps of thatch from the roof. The smoke stings your eyes, blackens the walls, and settles in your lungs until every breath feels heavier. Every morning, someone does not rise. The old, the sick, the youngest. They are carried outside, stiff as planks, and left to wait for spring. When the ground thaws, the burials begin. And all winter long, you wait, not for warmth, not for mercy, but to see if you will be the one still breathing when the snow melts. The forest is silent in winter, but silence is not safety. It is hunger, waiting. Wolves prowl at the edge of the village. Their ribs show through their fur, eyes burning with starvation. They are desperate, just like you. At night, they creep close. You hear them scratching at the frozen gates. You hear the snap of teeth in the dark. If you leave your hut after sunset, you may not come back. In some winters, packs grew bold enough to raid the streets of Paris itself. Chronicles tell of children dragged into the snow, travelers torn down in the road, entire villages barricading their doors against the wild. But wolves are not the only thing outside. There are men, other villagers, as starving as you are. The roads are unsafe. A journey for food can end with a knife in the back. When hunger grips, no one looks like a friend. The only law is survival, and survival is running out. Hunger twists the mind. First you dream of food, then you dream of flesh. During the Great Famine of 1315, the rains never stopped. Fields drowned, crops rotted. By winter, bread cost more than gold. Chronicles whispered that people dug up graves, that parents abandoned their children, that neighbors vanished, and their bones were found boiling in pots. When the choice is between your family and your soul, the soul is the first to go. Cannibalism was not myth, it was desperation. Mothers smothering infants, not with malice, but because there was nothing else left to eat. And even if you did not fall to that horror, famine marked you anyway. Your belly swelled from hunger, your teeth loosened, your strength drained until you could not lift a bucket of water. The body begins to eat itself, the mind begins to fade, and death comes slow, whispering through every bone, every breath. In the medieval winter, starvation did not just kill, it stripped you of what made you human. Winter was not just cold, it was a season of dread. The church bells rang for the dead more than for the living. Priests warned that hunger was God's punishment, that frost was the breath of hell itself. People prayed for daylight, but the nights stretched on and on. Candles burned low, shadows stretched long. Every creak of the hut felt like death waiting at the door. In villages, survival was counted not in years, but in winters. Every family had a story of those who had not made it. Grandparents buried in frozen ground. Children remembered only by the way they cried in the night. And yet, the snow kept falling, and the people kept waiting. Waiting for thaw, waiting for green fields, waiting for something to eat that was not leather, bark, or flesh. Spring always came, but for many, it came too late. And if you had lived in the Middle Ages, you would not have survived the winter.